CEN Written Exams Texas.
Question 1. If an override clause appears in Sawyer Anderson's listing agreement, what must the licensee provide within 72 hours after the listing expires for the clause to be effective? Option A. A protective list. Option B. A new deed. Option C. A county tax appeal. Option D. A mortgage payoff statement.
The correct answer is option A. Balancing accountability and safety with a non-punitive approach to errors.
An override clause is tied to a protective list supplied within the required time after expiration. A deed, tax appeal, or payoff statement does not preserve the broker's override rights. The protective list identifies prospects covered by the clause. Question 2. A broker closes an existing trust account without notice. Why is that a problem under Minnesota trust account rules for Avery in Winona involving a small retail building priced at $239,000? Option A. Trust accounts may never be changed under any circumstances. Option B. A broker or closing agent must give written notice to the commissioner before closing an existing trust account. Option C. Only buyers can close brokerage trust accounts. Option D. Trust accounts are optional for earnest money. The correct answer is option B. A broker or closing agent must give written notice to the commissioner before closing an existing trust account. Minnesota rules require notice of trust account status changes and written notice before closing an existing account. This does not mean accounts can never change, but they must be properly reported. Buyers do not control brokerage trust accounts, and trust accounts are not optional when trust funds must be held. Question 3. Wetlands are suspected on a vacant Beltrami County parcel. What should a licensee recommend before development assumptions are made? Option A. Assume all wetlands can be filled without approval. Option B. Use only the buyer's preferred building sketch. Option C. Obtain qualified advice about wetland restrictions and permitting. Option D. Ignore wetlands because they affect only personal property. The correct answer is option C. Obtain qualified advice about wetland restrictions and permitting. Wetland restrictions can limit development and require permits or expert review. Assuming fill is allowed or relying only on a sketch creates risk. Wetlands are real property and land use issues, not merely personal property concerns. Question 4. A broker compares a buyer's desired use with zoning rules, parcel size, and market demand. What appraisal principle is being considered for Finley in Mankato involving a lake cabin priced at $321,000? Option A. Tie-in arrangement. Option B. Novation. Option C. Steering. Option D. Highest and best use.
The correct answer is option B. Testicular torsion.
Highest and best use evaluates legal permissibility, physical possibility, financial feasibility, and maximum productivity. Tie-in arrangements, novation, and steering involve antitrust, contract substitution, and fair housing concerns. The analysis is about the most supportable property use. Question 5. A lender must disclose the cost of consumer credit so borrowers can compare loan terms. Which federal law is most directly involved for Morgan in Moorhead involving a duplex priced at $357,500? Option A. Truth in Lending Act. Option B. Sherman Antitrust Act only. Option C. Clean Water Act only. Option D. Minnesota Torrens Act only.
The correct answer is option C. Third-degree AV block.
Truth in lending requires disclosure of credit terms such as APR in many consumer loans. Antitrust, environmental, and Torrens land registration laws address different areas. The question focuses on loan cost disclosure. Question 6. A buyer deposits earnest money with a broker in the form of a negotiable note rather than cash. What extra care is needed for Reese in Stillwater involving a farm parcel priced at $401,000? Option A. The broker may throw it away because it is not cash. Option B. The non-depositable item must be handled through authorized escrow with written authority and proper records. Option C. It can be placed in the broker's personal safe without records. Option D. It automatically becomes commission income. The correct answer is option B. The non-depositable item must be handled through authorized escrow with written authority and proper records. Non-depositable items received as earnest money require careful escrow handling, written authority when the broker holds them, and proper records. They are not discarded, hidden as personal property, or treated as commission income. The rule protects all parties' interests in non-cash deposits. Question 7. A Woodbury listing agreement omits the real property description. What required element is missing? Option A. The buyer's credit score. Option B. The lender's underwriting model. Option C. A description of the real property involved. Option D. The appraiser's license number. The correct answer is option C. A description of the real property involved. Minnesota listing agreements must describe the real property involved. A buyer's credit score, underwriting model, or appraiser license number is not a required listing agreement element. The contract must identify the property being offered. Question 8. A buried heating oil tank is discovered during inspection of a duplex. Why is this important? Option A. They automatically convert the property to personal property. Option B. They prove the deed is forged. Option C. They eliminate all mortgage requirements. Option D. Underground storage tanks can create environmental and cleanup concerns that may affect value and use. The correct answer is option D. Underground storage tanks can create environmental and cleanup concerns that may affect value and use. Underground storage tanks may involve leaks, regulatory requirements, and cleanup costs, making them material environmental concerns. They do not convert real estate into personal property, prove deed fraud, or remove financing requirements. Environmental issues can affect value, marketability, and buyer decisions. Question 9. A landlord in Brainerd deducts from a security deposit for unpaid rent and damage beyond ordinary wear and tear. What makes those deductions more defensible for Sawyer in Brainerd involving a townhome priced at $246,500? Option A. They are tied to permitted reasons and supported by a written explanation. Option B. They are based only on the landlord's dislike of the tenant. Option C. They include normal fading of paint from ordinary use. Option D. They are taken without notice because deposits are always non-refundable. The correct answer is option A. They are tied to permitted reasons and supported by a written explanation. Minnesota security deposit deductions are generally tied to unpaid obligations or damage beyond ordinary wear and tear, with a written explanation when money is withheld. Personal dislike, normal wear, and treating every deposit as non-refundable are not defensible bases. Documentation is essential in landlord-tenant accounting. Question 10. When Finley, a licensee, intends to buy a client's property in Minneapolis, what disclosure is required before negotiation or consummation? Option A. The licensee may stay silent if paying full market value. Option B. The licensee must affirmatively disclose the license status and the capacity in which the licensee is acting. Option C. The disclosure is needed only after the deed is recorded. Option D. Only the buyer's lender must be told about the license. The correct answer is option B. The licensee must affirmatively disclose the license status and the capacity in which the licensee is acting. A Minnesota licensee who acquires or intends to acquire an interest in real property must disclose the license status and capacity before negotiation or consummation. Paying market value does not remove the conflict risk, and post-recording disclosure would be too late. Lender-only notice does not satisfy disclosure to the property owner. Question 11. A utility company has the right to run power lines across a Minneapolis parcel. Which property right is usually involved? Option A. Estate for years. Option B. Divulsion. Option C. Easement in gross. Option D. A remainder interest.
The correct answer is option A. Central retinal artery occlusion, CRAO.
A utility easement often benefits a company rather than a neighboring parcel, making it an easement in gross. An estate for years is a leasehold, avulsion is sudden land change, and a remainder follows a life estate. The utilities right is a non-possessory use right. Question 12. A listing agreement states the commission amount but does not explain what event earns it. What required item is missing for Emerson in Red Wing involving a single-family home priced at $310,000? Option A. A promise that the buyer will waive inspection. Option B. A surveyor's certification for every sale. Option C. A court order approving the commission. Option D. A clear statement of the events or conditions that entitle the broker to a commission. The correct answer is option D. A clear statement of the events or conditions that entitle the broker to a commission. Minnesota listing agreements must explain the events or conditions that entitle the broker to compensation. Inspection waivers, surveyor certifications, and court orders are not substitutes for commission earning terms. Clear compensation triggers protect both broker and client. Question 13. An easement benefits a neighboring parcel by allowing driveway access across Morgan Thompson's land. What type of easement is most likely? Option A, easement appurtenant. Option B, personal license only. Option C, trade fixture. Option D, a mechanic's lien.
The correct answer is option B. Beck's triad, hypotension, muffled heart sounds, JVD.
An easement appurtenant benefits another parcel and usually runs with the land. A personal license is revocable permission, a trade fixture is tenant property, and a mechanic's lien secures payment for improvements. The presence of a benefited parcel points to an appurtenant easement. Question 14. A borrower gives a mortgage on a Blaine property while retaining possession. What financing concept lets the borrower pledge the property without surrendering it for Cameron and Blaine involving a newly built townhouse priced at $192,000? Option A, avulsion. Option B, hypothecation. Option C, emblements. Option D, accession.
The correct answer is option D. All of the above.
Hypothecation means pledging property as security for a debt while retaining possession. Avulsion and accession concern land or property changes, while emblements are crops. Mortgage lending commonly uses hypothecation. Question 15. A listing agreement for a Winona seller is missing a definite end date. Why is that a licensing problem for Avery in Winona involving a small retail building priced at $328,000? Option A, listing agreements are valid only if they renew forever. Option B, expiration dates are allowed only in commercial leases. Option C, Minnesota listing agreements must include a definite expiration date. Option D, the county recorder assigns the expiration date after closing. The correct answer is option C. Minnesota listing agreements must include a definite expiration date. Minnesota listing agreements must be written and include a definite expiration date. Automatic indefinite listings create consumer protection concerns and do not meet the required content rules. County recorders do not supply listing agreement expiration dates. Question 16. A lender draws a line around a Clay neighborhood and refuses otherwise qualified mortgage applicants there. What fair housing and lending term best fits for Jordan in Bloomington involving a farm parcel priced at $396,500? Option A, plottage. Option B, accretion. Option C, estoppel. Option D, a redlining.
The correct answer is option B. PR segment depression and diffuse ST elevation.
Redlining is denying or limiting credit in an area for discriminatory reasons rather than evaluating individual qualifications. Plottage relates to value from assemblage, accretion is natural land buildup, and estoppel prevents inconsistent claims. Area-based discriminatory lending violates fair lending principles. Question 17. In appraisal, what does highest and best use require for Emerson in Red Wing involving a lake cabin priced at $190,000? Option A. A use that is legally permissible, physically possible, financially feasible, and maximally productive. Option B. The use that produces the highest commission. Option C. The use preferred by the current tenant only. Option D. The use with the lowest property tax bill. The correct answer is option A. A use that is legally permissible, physically possible, financially feasible, and maximally productive. Highest and best use considers legal, physical, financial, and productivity tests. Commission, tenant preference, and tax savings alone do not determine highest and best use. The concept focuses on the most supportable use of the property as real estate. Question 18. A buyer's lender evaluates income, credit, and property value without discrimination. Which law commonly governs equal access to credit for Schuyler and St. Paul involving a duplex priced at $283,500? Option A, Statute of Frauds. Option B, Equal Credit Opportunity Act. Option C, Truth in Zoning Act. Option D, Rule Against Perpetuities Only.
The correct answer is option B. Intubation and mechanical ventilation.
The Equal Credit Opportunity Act prohibits discrimination in credit transactions based on protected characteristics. The statute of frauds concerns enforceability of certain contracts, and zoning or perpetuity concepts are unrelated to lending equality. Financing decisions must focus on lawful underwriting factors. Question 19. Which appraisal approach is usually most persuasive for a typical owner-occupied home in a subdivision with many recent comparable sales for Emerson in Red Wing involving a lake cabin priced at $295,000? Option A, cost approach only. Option B, income approach only. Option C, sales comparison approach. Option D, a front foot method only.
The correct answer is option A. Apply a splint and reassess.
The sales comparison approach is usually strongest when similar properties have sold recently in the same market. The cost approach can be useful for new or special purpose improvements, and the income approach is more relevant to income-producing property. Front foot analysis is a land valuation tool, not the main method for a typical home. Question 20. A buyer asks about radon during a Blaine home purchase. What is the safest professional response for a licensee for Cameron in Blaine involving a newly built townhouse priced at $233,500? Option A, guarantee that radon is never a concern in Minnesota. Option B, tell the buyer to ignore radon because it is a title defect. Option C, prepare a scientific certification without testing. Option D, provide required or available radon information and recommend appropriate testing or qualified advice rather than guaranteeing levels. The correct answer is option D. Provide required or available radon information and recommend appropriate testing or qualified advice rather than guaranteeing levels. Radon is an environmental concern that should be addressed with required information, testing, and qualified resources. A licensee should not guarantee levels or provide scientific certification without proper expertise. Radon is a physical/environmental issue, not a title defect. Question 21. During a St. Paul license renewal review, which continuing education schedule best matches Minnesota salesperson requirements for Skylar in St. Paul involving a rental house priced at $457,000? Option A, 30 hours before the June 30th renewal deadline, with at least 15 hours completed before the previous June 30th. Option B, 10 hours every 4 years with no annual deadline. Option C, 30 hours only during the first licensing year. Option D, only the required module with no other continuing education. The correct answer is option A, 30 hours before the June 30th renewal deadline, with at least 15 hours completed before the previous June 30th. Minnesota salespersons generally need 30 hours of continuing education before the June 30th renewal deadline, with at least 15 hours due before the previous June 30th. The other options understate the hours, remove the annual structure, or treat the module as the only requirement. Continuing education must be completed in the proper license period. Question 22. Why would an appraiser rely heavily on the cost approach for a newly built condominium unit in Eden Prairie? Option A, it ignores land value completely. Option B, replacement cost and depreciation can be estimated more reliably for new improvements. Option C, it is the only legal method for all residential property. Option D, it values the property only by monthly rent. The correct answer is option B. Replacement cost and depreciation can be estimated more reliably for new improvements. The cost approach is useful for new construction because replacement cost and accrued depreciation can be estimated with less uncertainty. It still includes land value and is not the only legal method for every property. Monthly rent belongs to income analysis rather than cost analysis. Question 23. A buyer includes an inspection condition in a Mankato purchase agreement. What is the role of that contingency for Finley in Mankato involving a mixed-use property priced at $339,000? Option A, it automatically transfers title to the buyer. Option B, it eliminates the need for earnest money accounting. Option C, it makes the buyer's duty to perform depend on the stated inspection condition being satisfied or waived. Option D, it makes the broker a home inspector. The correct answer is option C. It makes the buyer's duty to perform depend on the stated inspection condition being satisfied or waived. A contingency is a condition that must be satisfied, waived, or otherwise resolved for the contract obligations to proceed as written. It does not transfer title or remove trust accounting duties. The broker does not become the inspector merely because the contract contains an inspection contingency. Question 24. A buyer purchases a $317,500 property with a 90% loan. What is the approximate loan amount? Option A, $31,750. Option B, $15,875. Option C, $4,000. Option D, $285,750. The correct answer is option D, $285,750. Loan amount is found by multiplying the sale price by the loan-to-value percentage. Down payment is the remaining equity, commission is based on brokerage compensation, and annual tax is a government charge. The loan-to-value percentage controls the financing amount. Question 25. Why might Kendall Rivera use a quitclaim deed to clear a possible title issue? Option A. It transfers whatever interest the grantor may have without making title warranties. Option B. It guarantees the property is free of every lien. Option C. It creates a new mortgage automatically. Option D. It replaces the need for delivery and acceptance. The correct answer is option A. It transfers whatever interest the grantor may have without making title warranties. A quitclaim deed can release or transfer any interest the grantor may have, but it does not warrant title quality. It does not guarantee lien-free ownership or create a mortgage. Like other deeds, it still depends on proper execution, delivery, and acceptance.